You know, for most of our lives, we've all lived in a world with one clear superpower. Well, that's all changing. Right now, a massive shift is happening, and it's literally splitting the world in two. So, let's get into it.
To really get what's going on, you have to ask the big question. Why is the United States, the country that built the whole system, suddenly changing all the rules? What is happening at home that's forcing their hand like this?
And the answer, well, it starts right at home, inside the US, because what you're seeing in their foreign policy, it's not just about grand strategy. No, it's a reaction to some huge, tangled-up problems they're facing internally.
It really boils down to four key challenges that are all connected. We're talking about a mountain of national debt, inflation that's hitting everyone's wallets, the US dollar itself being challenged on the world stage, and of course, the elephant in the room, the meteorizing rise of China. These aren't just separate issues, they're all feeding off each other.
Okay, first, let's just try to wrap our heads around the debt. $38.5 trillion. It's just a mind-blowing number. They're paying almost $1 trillion a year just in interest. So you gotta ask, how on earth has the US managed to keep this going for so long? Well, the secret sauce has always been its currency.
And that brings us to this thing called the petrodollar system. It's super important. Basically, after World War II, the US made a deal, mostly with oil-producing countries. It was simple. We'll protect you with our military, and in exchange, you only sell your oil in US dollars. Now think about it. Every country needs oil, right? So suddenly, every country needed US dollars. That one move made the dollar the world's go-to currency, and it's been the foundation of American economic power ever since.
And for decades, that system was rock solid. Nobody could touch it. But then, in 2022, something happened. An event that sent a massive shockwave through the entire global financial system. It was the spark that really lit the fire for countries to start moving away from the dollar.
Just look at this timeline. For years, if any country even tried to sell oil in another currency, well, things didn't go so well for them. But the real game changer was 2022. The US froze $420 billion of Russia's reserves, just gone with the flip of a switch. And that was a massive wake-up call for every other country. They all thought, wait a minute, if they can do it to Russia, they can do it to us. And the result? An absolute stampede to buy physical gold.
This really paints the picture, doesn't it? The old way was easy. If you were a country, you stored your wealth in US dollars and bonds. That was safety. The new reality? Nations are scrambling to get their hands on something real, something physical that they can hold, something that one government can't just delete. And that something is gold.
And listen, this isn't just some theory or prediction. This is happening right now. For the first time ever, the world's central banks, as a group, now own more of their reserves in physical gold than in US government debt. That is a huge, historic turning point.
So as the money shifts, new battlegrounds are being drawn. This rivalry between the US and China, it's not just about dollars and yuan anymore. It's becoming a bare-knuckle fight for the actual, physical stuff that's going to define who has power in this century.
And you can see the new great game playing out on two key fronts. First, technology. We're talking about those tiny, super advanced semiconductor chips that run everything. AI, your phone, advanced weapons. And the world's best chip maker? It's in Taiwan. Then you've got the raw materials, the rare earth metals and oil you need to build all that tech. And those are in places like Greenland and Venezuela.
Remember a few years ago when it came out that the US wanted to buy Greenland? It sounded kind of crazy, right? But once you understand what's at stake, it starts to make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, Greenland is suddenly one of the most strategic places on Earth. Why? Three big reasons. One, the Arctic ice is melting, opening up brand new, faster shipping lanes. Two, its location is perfect for keeping an eye on Russia and China. But here's the kicker. The real prize? It's believed to be sitting on a quarter of the world's rare earth metals, the very same metals that China currently dominates the market for. You see the connection?
So what happens when you have this intense rivalry for technology and resources? What's the endgame? Well, it's something experts are calling economic decoupling. It's the deliberate, systematic breakup of the world's two biggest economies.
And this breakup isn't random. It's happening in three clear steps. Step one is about trade. The US is using tariffs to try and bring manufacturing back home, to build supply chains that aren't dependent on China. Step two is all about tech, pressuring allies to pick sides and build tech systems that are totally separate from China's. And step three, the final and biggest step, is financial separation.
We're seeing two competing, parallel financial systems being built as we speak.
And what you end up with is this: the world is splitting. That one big globalized economy we've known for so long, it's fracturing into two distinct blocks, two spheres of influence, one centered on the US and its allies, and the other on China and its partners.
Okay, so this all leads to the final showdown. As the world splits apart, two very different ideas about the future of money and power are going head-to-head. Two completely different ways of running the world. On one side, you've got the US plan, a digital dollar, or stablecoin. Imagine the dollar, but digital and fully trackable by the government. This would give the US the power to see every transaction and, crucially, to freeze anyone's money anywhere in the world in an instant. Then you have China's strategy, which is totally different: gold-backed trade. They're creating a system where other countries can trade with them, earn Chinese yuan, and then immediately exchange that yuan for physical gold. It's a way to bypass the dollar system completely.
So you see what's happening. Each side is playing to its strengths. The US is leaning into what it knows best: its control over the global financial system and its military power, trying to update that for a digital age. China, on the other hand, is leveraging its massive manufacturing power and its control over critical resources to build an alternative system based on real, physical stuff.
And that leaves all of us with the final, massive question. In this fracturing world, as these two systems pull further and further apart, is every country going to be forced to pick a side? What does that choice even look like? And what does it mean for all of us?